Welcome to the podcast, A Drink with Derek. Follow comedian Derek Richards on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and don't forget to subscribe to his YouTube channel and watch all episodes of the podcast. Now grab a drink and join your host, Derek Richards.
Hey, what's going on? Welcome to the podcast. It's A Drink with Derek. Derek Richards here in Las Vegas, here in the bar once again, actually having a cup of coffee here today. Excited about today's episode. Got a couple of guests on. We'll get to that here in just a moment. But before we do that, I want to thank my sponsor, VegasSportsAdvantage.com. These guys are fantastic. If you're going to go ahead and bet with your head, not with your heart. These guys go ahead and analyze everything. They study the games. I mean, college football and pro football right now is what I've been kind of going with, but they will hang with you. They bet MMA, golf, baseball. VegasSportsAdvantage.com. They post their record right on their website. They are extremely transparent. Go with people that do the research on your wagers. And also, too, my album, Double Down, is available right now, streaming on multiple platforms. Spotify, Amazon, iTunes. Go ahead and snag a copy of that, recorded live in Fort Myers, Florida at Laugh-In Comedy Cafe. Huge thanks to the folks down there, Jamie, Eric, and the whole crew. And I'm going to be appearing on October 15th, Friday, October 15th at the Lexington Theater in Lexington, Michigan. Also Saturday, October 16th at the Pix Theater in Lapeer, Michigan. And then I'll be down in Tampa at the Improv with my good friend Dave Landau, October 22nd and 23rd. All the dates are on my website, DerekRichards.com. That is providing that I don't get some dates canceled. Today's episode is going to be focusing on cancel culture with my two guests. Now, I was scheduled to do a tour with Armed Forces Entertainment going off November 1st through 18th. And I was going to be in Egypt, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and United Arab Emirates. I get a call from the tour producer, not Armed Forces Entertainment or the Department of Defense, but the actual tour producer, that she was contacted by AFE, Armed Forces Entertainment, and said that I am going to be removed from the tour. Me, Derek Richards. The tour is still going on with the other comedians who are very, very funny. And I was blown away. I'm like, what are you talking about? And apparently, somebody who works for the Department of Defense in Bahrain had pulled up my social media and said that there were offensive social media posts. They relayed that information onto Armed Forces Entertainment and the Department of Defense, and they deemed these offensive. Now, before we go any further, and because of these tweets being deemed offensive, I was being taken off of the tour because I was called anti-vax, anti-POTUS, anti-president of the United States, anti-LGBTQ, pro-insurrection, and that I was also advocating murdering the president. Now, before we go any further, let me bring up the definition of cancel culture first and foremost.
The notion of cancel culture is a variant on the term call-out culture and constitutes a form of boycotting or shunning, involving an individual, often a celebrity who is deemed to have acted or spoken in a questionable or controversial manner.
This is the nature of cancel culture. We've seen it happen all over the place. Most recently with a couple of celebrities, Russell Brand, the actor, and Nicki Minaj, the singer, for their own things that they've posted on social media. But let's pull up the tweet that was put up from the guy at the Department of Defense, Travis Akers. Okay. Classy tweets from comedian Derek Richards, who scheduled to be on the Department of Defense, Armed Forces Entertainment tour, of course, tagging Department of Defense and Armed Forces Entertainment to draw their attention. Nothing like joking about murdering the president and calling the vice president a hooker. Now, these tweets, everything that I put out on my social media is based from a comedic angle. I'm not saying anything to be hateful or in any form of anger. Well, anyhow, his tweet caught the attention of actress Deborah Messing, who was noted for her appearances on, for her time on Will and Grace. And she went ahead and tagged Armed Forces Entertainment. You know, what is the status of this tour? Are you just going underground thinking it'll go away? In other words, There was a post before this that she had put out that was bringing this to AFE's attention, but there wasn't anything being done about it. AFE was doing their own investigation at that point in time. She went ahead and said, what's the status? Are you just going underground thinking it'll go away? The president is pro-vax. The president is pro-LGBTQ. The president is the commander-in-chief over the armed forces. It is shameful to bring an entertainer who is against the president, which could be no further than the truth. And what I want to do is I want to bring in my two guests right now. First, legendary comedian who has had multiple years working with Howard Stern, the Reverend Bob Levy. He has podcasts called Miserable Men, also Levyland podcast. He's got a show coming up November 27th in Scranton, Pennsylvania. We'll get to that information here in just a little bit. Reverend Bob Levy is with me. Also, hip-hop singer, songwriter, producer. He is also manager at one of the top comedy clubs here in Las Vegas, and he is studying public policy at UNLV. My good friend, Ed Conover. So, Reverend Bob Levy, Ed Conover, welcome to the show. Thank you guys so much for being here. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Bob, I love the background. You're in New Jersey right now. Ed is here in Las Vegas. Mm-hmm. And let's go ahead and pull up. That is the best shot of your neighborhood.
Well, since I canceled myself many years ago, this is where I've been living, But things are looking up again. I'm ready to come back and upset people again.
Good to hear. And of course, Ed Conover, who is here in Las Vegas with me on the other side of town right now. Always good to see you, my friend.
Likewise, brother. Thank you for having me.
No, it's going to be a lot of fun. I want to talk about cancel culture. And the reason I brought Bob on is because now cancel culture kind of stretches a number of different platforms. It can come from individuals, but also social media platforms can go ahead and cancel people as well. We'll get to that because I know that happened to you, Bob, with Twitter. And we've all heard of people getting thrown in Facebook jail. People have been thrown off of Twitter. They've had their account suspended. Also, YouTube channels have been taken down for whatever these platforms deem not appropriate. Instagram has also suspended accounts too here as well. Before we go any further, let me ask you this. Cancel culture, in the essence of what it is, in terms of trying to cancel somebody, trying to, I guess I would say, bring to the forefront someone's opinions that may not necessarily line up with your narrative, and then trying to, what seems to be very angry responses, angry narratives that people try to put out there about people. Is cancel culture good in any capacity? Bob, let me ask you that question first.
No, not at all. Because it's basically somebody's opinion of what they believe in. Okay, and if you don't agree with them, right away you are the devil. The way things are these days. If say you say anything could be twisted into something that isn't a joke. We're comedians. So if you basically say, if you put up a picture of the My Pillow guy next to Biden, it's funny. It's not like, oh, we want him to die. It's these are just two people on different sides of thinking, of views. And that's why when you put them in a certain thing with what the guy does with the pillow, sometimes, there could be a little bit of an accident. We all joke about it. I joke about stuff with my wife. About killing her? Would I kill her? If I would kill her, I would have killed the other three before her. You get what I'm saying? I'm joking. They wouldn't be around, okay? So it's like, if I just want to take something and make it a little more entertaining than it already is, being a comedian, what is wrong with that? When did this all of a sudden happen? And what confuses me is I never looked at race, I never looked at religion, I never looked at anything until they shoved it in my face, where I got to hear, I hear things that I've never heard in my life, like, this is the first black person to be this. This is the first gay people to do this. You know what I mean? It's like, oh no, it just say, hey, this person did this. Nobody's different. Why make people different? That's what they're doing. They're making them different. So if you say any little thing, you hate them but they're the ones that threw it in my face to be able to say, the first gay, you know what I mean? It's like you don't say, the first Jew to ever pick up a check. Like, when is he going to be on TV? You know what I mean? It's like, have a little fun with it at least. You know what I mean? Have a little, like, you can't say anything about, God, I mean, anything about who got it worse? Polish people got it. They get it terrible. Italian people get it terrible. You know what I mean? Still to this day with jokes. They're jokes. Calm the fuck down and go on with your life. All you are is nosy neighbors. That's all you are. And that's why all these TV shows about real life people fucking up their lives, people love to see that because they love to watch other people fail and not achieve greatness because it makes them feel better. And that's that.
No, I agree. Now, Ed, let me go to you and ask you the same question. Cancel culture. You and I have had probably the most lucid, productive conversations, and you and I are different.
Yeah.
We have different political views, and there's nothing wrong with that. The days of having an intelligent conversation and having opposite political views are gone. It's you're either team me or your team not me. And let me ask you this, Ed, is there anything in the cancel culture element that provides any good at all?
Well, so I'm going to answer the question in a bit more of a complicated way. So short answer, no, primarily for this reason. I'm a firm believer that the cornerstone of democracy is disagreement, right? And so in order for us to actually participate in this idea, because America is an idea, it's very fragile. In order for us to participate in the idea, there has to be some level of disagreement. That's the most American thing you can do is disagree. So no, in the short form. What I will say is this: is I think that it's that pendulum effect, right? You go one side to the other rapidly and miss the middle. And what ends up happening is like you have one sector that revels in this idea of cancel culture because I think it makes them feel a little bit special that they have the power to cancel people. And there's the other side that also revels in the idea that they can be canceled. I think you have a whole group of people on one side who have married themselves to the idea of affiliation, right? Politically, if you're all that's required is affiliation. You don't have to be right. You don't have to provide any good points. You know, your tweet with the My Pillow thing, for example. I saw so many people when Trump caught COVID, and I want to make it clear before I get any further on this, because I know the internet is an interesting place. I didn't vote for Trump. I voted for Biden, and I would vote for Biden again today, tomorrow, and the next day. So I can't stand Trump, and Derek knows this. But when Trump caught COVID, I saw millions, maybe not millions, but I saw hundreds and hundreds of tweets, Instagram posts, memes, GIFs, talking about maybe his doctors can give him that Michael Jackson serum. Maybe his doctors can do all this other stuff. And it's interesting to me that like it only tends to play one way. So there's that one side of the equation. It tends to play ball one way. And if you then participate in the same activity that they are, but because you're not affiliated with their belief system, they vilify you even though you're playing by the same rules as they are. So that's the element of cancel culture that I dislike on that end. On the opposite side of the equation, you've had people that have really built brands around being canceled, and they revel in the idea of making that their brand. It's no longer just a disagreement or us not seeing things eye to eye. It really is genuinely them going, I'm going to build a brand around being controversial and finding things to revel in this cancel and this idea of being censored. Because I do believe that like there is something to be said about you have freedom of speech, but not freedom of consequence. So, and private businesses have the right to make the decisions that they want to make that they feel is best for their business. I'm a part of a private business. We deal with this in the comedy sector, unfortunately, way too often. Sometimes it's right on the money. Most of the time it's not. But I think if you decide to marry your brand to being canceled, then you know play certain games, win certain prizes, I guess. So it's a complicated thing, but I do think that at the end of the day, it benefits absolutely nobody. So we all kind of lose. So there's a
No,
long
I
answer
agree,
for
and
a
I mean,
simple question.
well, well, no, and I mean to your point too. I mean, you're involved in the hip hop community, and the hip hop community has a
Yeah.
tendency to want to go against the grain, and so there are hip hop artists that have been quote unquote canceled,
Mhm.
or have been
Yeah.
have been
Well,
thrown
yeah.
out, been thrown into that ring. I mean, off the top of your head, I mean, you know the scene.
Yeah.
Who can
I
you
mean,
think of off the top
so
of your head that's really been prevalent in that arena?
so most recently, um, and again, this is a perfect example. I think most recently was a rapper named DaBaby. He was at Rolling Loud Festival, which tours across the country. It's a similar lineup each time, tours across the country, hundreds of thousands of people. Middle of his set, he made some very uneducated statements about gay people and specifically AIDS and HIV. And it was something that, again, comedians are kind of in a weird bubble because everything is kind of supposed to be coming from a place of like finding the funny in oftentimes not so funny things. Uh, Hip hop artists, that's not the case. So he made some very off color comments, was removed from the tours, all of them, tons of revenue lost for him. But what I found interesting was how many people within the community who preach about like, we have to have conversations with our family, we have to have conversations with our uneducated friends, we have to bring these issues to the table, had no interest in bringing those issues to the table with him. They just wanted him off the tour. And oddly enough, somebody who gets a lot of shit in the media, but I thought was handled it perfectly, was like Miley Cyrus. She reached out to him directly and was like, "Hey, man, this is a perfect opportunity for us to sit down and talk about these things. This is why what you said was hurtful to me and members of my community. I'd love to talk to you about it. I'd love for us to sit down and get on the same page about it. It wasn't fuck the baby and cancel him and don't listen to his music and da. So I wish that there was more opportunity for us to come together because, you know, unfortunately, I know that you'd made the comment earlier about they're making us different. We are different. All of us are different. Those can still be level-headed conversations, though. They don't have to be these hateful conversations, and they don't have to be driven from a place of like you're different than me, and that's why we don't get along. It's you're different than me, and that's why this is beautiful. That's why this works. So I don't know. It's a complicated topic, man.
No, it is, and I mean, I know Bob. You're a huge as an older Jew from New Jersey. I know you're a huge fan of DaBaby, and very disappointed that he was thrown off of the tour because I know you were following them around the country, if I'm not
Well,
mistaken.
I'm
So I can
I was told
see
to bring it up.
I can
Poor
see the
Bob.
sad look on your face.
Yeah.
I know.
Well, yeah,
At the end of the day, it's all about poor Bob missing out on seeing DaBaby.
Hey, man, I'll see him when he's older.
Well, now, Bob, you were canceled off of Twitter, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah,
what was your experience in going through this? I mean, obviously, anybody who knows you or follows you, which again, you are, please, Reverend Bob Levy, see him when he comes to your town. Watch his stuff online. Follow the podcast. Watch Levy Land. Watch Miserable Men podcast with Kevin Brennan, I believe, is who you're on that podcast with. Correct?
No, Shuli and them.
Shuli. I'm sorry. My apologies. My apologies.
Yeah.
Love
But
Shuli.
but see Bob when he comes to your town. See his act. See who he is. I mean, who you are on stage is not who you are off stage as a person. Like I talk to you. I mean, we get along great. We've laughed our asses off. You're a super, super nice guy. I don't want to ruin your image. Anybody that heard that, just forget it. If you think he's a dick, just keep thinking he's a dick. But no, I mean, there's a difference between who you are on stage versus who you are off stage and as far as on social media is concerned. So what happened with you with Twitter?
Yeah, okay. Well, the whole thing is that we are all different people than we are doing radio, doing, you know what I mean? Doing just in regular life, you're just this normal person that has a child, you're married, you have kids, and you go from there. So like when I'm on there, if I see something like I had a check mark, I thought it was kind of untouchable, really. I'd be warned or something. Well, I was warned a few times, but what's her name? Alyssa Milano, whatever the hell. What's her name? Is it Alyssa, whatever the fuck her name is? What's her name?
Alyssa.
But she wrote something, and she just babbles. Okay, she looks like she lost her mind, and I was just trying to help her, And I just said to her, I said, the only way I'm going to get you to shut up if I jam my cock down your throat. And it was just like a joke, just to maybe say stop, just stop. You know what I mean? You're fucking losing your mind on this thing. You're from Staten Island, also. You're making us look bad, okay? And they threw me off saying that I was crushing her from her speech, like my dick was going to stop her from speaking. And they threw me off, and I could never get back on. And after a year, I just made another account, and I was shocked that I got thrown off. I would say, okay, I learned not to do that. It was probably stupid. Yeah, I'll admit it. I should have stayed away. I don't go in people's shit, but that she just got on my nerve that day. I don't know, but I stay to myself. I go, with the people that are joking, having fun. I like to do that. Some serious stuff, but. I was kind of shocked that I got thrown off or something like that when there's just naked pictures of, you know what I mean? You can see a pussy, an asshole, a penis, and you're like, that's okay to allow? And people trying to scam people, hot chicks that like me? Come on, man. You can't get rid of that before me. Somebody that's just fucking around, I don't get it. And I got thrown off. And YouTube is giving us shit now. And they say, take it down and you're okay. And then, well, what was it that we said? They won't tell you what you said. They want the whole video down. So you
mean the video of your podcast?
My podcast, yeah. So,
okay.
I'm having that problem now. So what do we do next? Where do you go? There's only a few places that have pay sites you can go to that are popular that you should be on, Kumia, Compound Media, and then what else there would be? Maybe a few other ones, like Vince Russo has one now that we're on. Me and Shuli are doing a show, but those are the only places you can go because you're going to get thrown off of everything by just being yourself that you've always been your whole life, and now you can go to anybody. Almost any person has said something racial as a joke, made fun of a gay person, made fun of this, made fun of a Jew, made fun of everybody has done that as a joke, and may not know that they upset somebody. But you cannot put even Deborah or whatever her name is on a lie detector test. She will lie and say that she never said anything ever. And I guarantee she did, because you learn from mistakes. You don't learn from not doing something fucked up. Okay? And that's how you...
No,
works.
Exactly. No, I agree completely. And, I harbor no ill feelings towards Armed Forces Entertainment or the Department of Defense for having me removed from the tour. I'm disappointed that I'm not going to be able to go over there and do that. Mm-hmm. But I also understand that if there is some negative cloud surrounding that particular tour, I don't want that to be the focus of it. The focus of the thing is for the comedians to go over there and entertain the troops, make them laugh, have a good time, take their mind off of all the crap that they're going through. And if me being a part of that tour is going to draw negative attention, I'll gladly step aside. I've done military tours, countless military tours since 2001, going overseas, domestically. I've never had any issues on stage at all at any military base ever. I've gone to Iraq, Afghanistan. They have certain parameters of what you can and can't say on stage as a comedian. Yeah. They say, look, don't make fun of the president when you're on stage. Don't make fun of the military. Don't do anything misogynistic, and don't joke about religion. When you think about the composure of the military, you have a lot of people from the Southeast, Georgia, Mississippi, Alabama, Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky, a lot of very religious people, Southern Baptists, and they're like, look, don't go making fun of Jesus. I get it. That's who your audience is. But what these people are trying to do is go ahead and look at somebody's Twitter posts, social media posts, and let's go ahead and pull some of these up. These are the ones, this is the stuff that was posted that he did screenshots. This Travis Akers had taken screenshots of these different Twitter posts that I had put up, where I was, and he was labeling me anti-vax, anti-POTUS, anti-LGBTQ, and pro-insurrection. Now, I believe Deborah Messing had labeled me as some of these people here as well, so I'm kind of crossing some of this stuff here as well. So go back to the one with the other posts here. If you look and see the tweets that I had put up there, the upper right-hand corner is what's being thrown in the category as anti-vax, where I say the FDA now approving vaccines is like putting a jar of grape juice in the pantry, waiting 6 months, and calling it wine. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Listen, first and foremost, I'm vaccinated. And the reason I got vaccinated partly is because I wanted to go overseas and be a part of this tour. I knew the military was going to require that. And a lot of comedy clubs here in Las Vegas and around the country are asking for your vax cards. Now, that is there. They can certainly do that. You know, I'm not anti-vax. If you want to get a vaccine, get 10 of them. If you don't want to get one, don't get one, but then deal with the consequences accordingly. So no, I'm not anti-vax. For them to say that I'm anti-LGBTQ, if you look at that middle tweet right there with Megan Rapinoe from the U.S. women's soccer team, and I posted when they lost to Sweden, I said, purple-headed dude seems irked. Okay, now, I thought that was funny. I don't think that labels me as being anti-gay. Ed, let me ask you that. I mean, if you see that, I mean, obviously you're not, obviously you're straight, but I mean, is that something that you would look at and sink your teeth into and think that, here's a guy who is anti-gay?
I mean, here's the thing, man. I don't know why these people have enough time to try to read between the lines that hard. I personally would just keep scrolling if I didn't find it funny. So, because again, like when you pull up the lady, who's the lady who put this whole thing together? The actress, what's her name?
Deborah Messing.
Yeah, the Deborah Messing tweet. Like I look at this as a good example, right? Like regardless of whether or not people agree with any of the memes that you posted, when you start going through, the president is pro-vax, the president is pro-LGBTQ, the president is the commander-in-chief over the armed forces. It's shameful to bring an entertainer who's against the president. Like, that is fascism, okay? Half of your military didn't vote for your president. Half of your military is pro-Trump. And again, I'm going to clarify this every time. I cannot stand Donald Trump, okay? But you have to play the ball on both sides. If you're going to play the ball one way, it just doesn't work out well. So at the end of the day, regardless of how you've her tweet specifically is already a slanted thing because it's not dealing with it's not dealing in facts. Like half of your armed forces voted for Donald Trump. So it's shameful to bring an entertainer who's against the president, but half of your armed forces didn't vote for the president. So that's like the thing that I'm talking about, where people like revel in canceling people. And it's a really, I don't know why there is why these people feel so empowered to do this. It's never, I also noticed it's never like top tier people who have the time to go cancel people. It's always people who work's dried up a little bit. They got a little bit more time on their hands to go canceling. And hey, as you said, I think that private businesses, and I want to say this too. We've been friends for quite a while. You're one of my first close friends in the comedy business. I know you as a person, and I know that there is not a single thing that you've ever posted or tweeted that has come from a place of hate. And the reason that I know this is I know specifically that we have both mutual friends who, in certain times where something was posted that bothered friends of ours, and they reached out to you and said, hey, this was hurtful to me for this reason, or this upset me for this reason. You're the first one to take it down. Not only do you take it down, but you've called those people and said, hey, I just want to make sure that we're good and let's talk about it. So I know for a fact that nothing you've ever done has come from a place of hate. And secondly, I want to commend you on how you've handled all this, because I think so many people would see this as an opportunity, right? And they become very opportunistic about, oh, now I got canceled. Now I can lean into being the canceled guy and just make that my brand. And I commend you for just playing it straight and playing it gracious and saying Armed Forces Entertainment has the right to do what they want to do. You've handled it perfectly, my brother, and I commend that. So regardless of like the politics aside, agree or disagree, I commend you on how you've handled all of it.
No, I mean, I appreciate that. It's just been, again, I'm not going to be, listen, I'm not going to sit there. I'm not going to lie down and not defend myself. So the fact that, I mean, we're having this podcast now, I'm talking with two people that I respect and that I enjoy talking to, obviously with, you, Bob, and you, Ed. And again, obviously, Bob, you come from, you've been in comedy for many, many years. And can you even imagine going back to when you started doing this? Can you imagine if cancel culture was as alive and well as it is today back when you were on Stern?
Oh, even when I first started in the late 80s, I mean, if the stuff I was doing then, this was in the middle of the AIDS thing. And I'm doing shit that I would not even probably do today because I was new, but I was like, it was pretty insane. And the thing, and then the Stern thing, if I was even doing, or he was saying, we'd be off the air. We'd be off the air. We would, that show would have never lasted with even what Howard was saying on that show in 2002. I started in 2002, but if you go back to 98, oh my God, there's no way. I remember saying shit that was like, would get snickers from other people in the room, but they didn't have to say it. It kind of led you to say it, and it was kind of like, okay, But yeah, you can't do that. Can you do it or whatever? I go up on stage. I've never changed, truthfully. And I have no problem with people. Nobody has really got upset with me at a show. This is true. Two gay people got upset at two different times, but they were totally wrong about it. You know what I mean? They thought they would let other people were getting away with saying shit. And I just said, oh, is that the gay guy there? And I go, I said something, whatever. It wasn't even that bad, but then they used their hate on me. And I didn't even talk about anything like that. And they were just so angry. And they walked out. And everybody was like, what the fuck is going on? And it's just like but nobody else nothing has ever come close to that. It's like, okay, I know gay people. You know what I mean? I know I'm if I do a gay joke, I'm doing like an impression of what they say. They're always shocked. You know what I mean? I see how they are. It's like I show them a bug and they're like, oh my God. You know what I mean? It's like they overact. I'm just playing my friends. You understand? Like I do any kind of character I'm doing on stage. And it's like, now I hate gay people. It doesn't affect my life. Nobody else affects my life until you start to go into it. I don't see anybody I wake up to laugh. I wake up happy until I see what's going on with everybody and why it's like what it is, because it's basically this against this, and like you said, there's no other thinking. You can't do it because I wish we can go back in time right now, knowing what we know now, and say Trump won the presidency again. I know you're going to be upset about this one, but say he won again. Would we be the ones taking the needles, okay? And would the Democrats be the one going, I am not putting Trump's poison in me? Would it be the other way right now? And I do believe it would be the other way, that the Democrats would be the ones going, how dare you tell me what to do with my body?
And people see what they want to see. Mm-hmm. Because when you look at these different tweets that were posted on anybody's social media account, people are drawn to certain buzzwords. People are drawn to certain things, whether it's at a comedy show or wherever, or at a concert or something like that too. I want to pull up that tweet where I was being called pro-insurrection, if we can find that one. And what I did was I had posted, this is my favorite, by the way. This was Martina Navratilova, who actively follows Deborah Messing. She posts, Derek Richards is pure poison. That, by the way, is now going to be included in my intro when I'm brought up on stage.
I love it.
That just makes me laugh. But I mean, the audacity of somebody posting something like that, you don't know me. You literally had a friend of yours post a tweet that included some memes that you deemed offensive, and then you turn around and just knee-jerk go, Derek Richards is pure poison? You got to be kidding me. Now, there's the one tweet, I don't know if we can pull it up, where I was being called pro-insurrection. And while we're trying to find that one, if we can find it, it's a tweet that I had posted of the January 6th video footage that was trying to be suppressed. And it was basically showing a lot of the people coming into the Capitol. And it just looks like they're not smashing down the doors. It looked literally like the mall at Christmas time. And I said, look, it looks like there we go, the lower left-hand corner. It looks like a bustling day of commerce at the mall around the holidays. All that's missing is Santa. Because now that picture just made me laugh. I'm like, it looks like, looks like Black Friday. So,
that looks like to me?
What?
It looks like basically if you put in that picture, just trying to, thinking as a comic, if you're looking at that picture right now, I would put little food snacks on tables. Like people are they're at somewhere, they're talking before, it looks like at a wedding reception when they're in the drinking part where you have like drinks and little snacks there. And you put that there, but it's a joke. It's like, okay, we're looking at it from what we want to believe a lot more. Okay, I'll admit that. Yeah, I want to believe that people that would vote for somebody that I would not do what I seen going on all summer. Yeah, exactly. I feel fucking, you know what I mean? I'm looking at it from a different side, which like everybody's always 75% in on their side. And then you look at it and you can believe whatever you want. The greatest thing when you can look at a documentary and somebody narrates it, right? And makes the villain look like the person that is being the victim. It's the easiest thing, and that's how you can do it. I want you all to see Kevin Brennan's documentary. It makes him look like a victim, and it's the greatest. When somebody can do that in front of your eyes, it's the greatest thing. And I said, I've never seen a documentary that you can look at it and go, I see what this guy is telling me. So you're always being led in your mind. You understand? You're always being led by somebody. Somebody will use better words than I can use. I'm not educated. I'm brilliant. There's a difference there. Okay? So you can
and
come
humble.
at me.
You're humble too.
And humble. I forgot about that one. But you can come at me and use bigger words like I don't even know where to put a comma when I'm typing. Okay? It's all right. You're basically arguing with basically it could be a retarded child typing to you. Okay? And that's the truth. When you see my writing, I don't care if that's me.
A lot of your Twitter posts do kind of look like ransom notes, to be honest with you.
Exactly. If it said, hi, this is little Billy, can you save me first? And then it goes dot, comma, help. You know, you would think so. But I'm just saying, it's like people, instead of coming back, like somebody's fucking around and then you come back with and you're using all these fancy words and all that stuff by trying to make it, you're just stupid. No, I just can't fucking type. I'm not stupid. I didn't pay attention in school much, but I'm pretty happy in fucking life now. Don't fuck with me. You know what I mean? I can just say, if somebody goes, I'm throwing you off Twitter, I go, that was a retarded kid got on my computer again. Look at it. Just look at it. Who types like that? I'm fucking special, you fucks.
Well, it seems like the Heisman Trophy right now for anybody, and you are special, Bob. You are.
Yeah.
Don't let anybody tell you differently. It seems like the Heisman Trophy for some of these cancel culture people that are active out there is to take money out of the other person's pocket. For example, for me being thrown off of the Armed Forces Entertainment Tour. Now, none of us that go over there and do those tours are doing it for the money. We're just not. I mean, they
Yeah.
fly us over there, they pay us a stipend, but no one's getting rich off of doing those tours. You do them because you want to
Mhm.
do them. And so, I mean, I've said this countless times. I'm
Yeah.
just very disappointed that it ended up working out the way that it did, and that I can't go over there and do what I love to do to people that I have the utmost respect for. My dad was in the Navy, my grandfather was in the Army. So it seems like the trophy for these people to try to walk away from is to yank money out of your pocket. And I know that there have been some of these cancel culture people that will contact comedy clubs. And Ed, I'm going to defer to you on this. Being on the receiving end of a number of phone calls that would come into a comedy club, have you had situations like that where people have called the club and said, "I can't believe you are hiring fill in the blank comedian"?
Excuse me. So we've not had calls. We've had walkouts, and then we've had people who have left maybe Yelp reviews or Facebook Messenger. And here's the thing. Like I kind of said earlier, like comedy is kind of a bubble, right? And people, you're finding the funny through social narratives. If I'm going to sit here and look at this all literally, then none of it's funny. Like there's no way to how do you make abortion funny? It's not a funny topic, but it's a comic's job to find a way. It's a topic that we deal with in life. So yeah, we've had it happen. Our club, I think, has done a really good job of towing the line and trying to find a way to stay out of the mix. I think this is where it becomes different, and I'll keep going back to this. When you tie your brand to that, I am the canceled guy. I am the silenced guy. Look, they don't want me to be great. They want to cancel me. They want to rip me off the internet. They want to censor me. That goes back to kind of your thing where you're like, hey, these businesses just don't want the bad press. It has nothing to do with silencing you. It's that if everywhere Bob, but if my uncle had a saying, if everywhere Bob goes, there's a problem, then Bob's the fucking
Well, in this
problem.
case, that's completely true.
Yeah, I know.
That neighborhood behind Bob was totally fine until he showed up in there.
That's just the phrase that I was taught. So that's just always the way that we look at it, and I think that businesses are allowed to do that. Again, you have freedom of speech, not freedom of consequence. And if you are, this is the other thing too, man, is how the people that are policing it and trying to take quote unquote money out of your pocket, how in the world do they expect people to grow? And like to your point, Bob, where you were talking about, they talk to you like you're uneducated, right? How does that help us get to a mutual understanding either? If you're constantly punching down, how do we elevate? How do we bring people to the same table? And I just don't. That's so. Going back to your original question, Derek, about cancel culture and is it beneficial? Not in the way that it operates, man. I do think that look, we all know this. There's consequences for your actions. You can't say whatever you want. But we were also taught in school, and these same people who police these platforms are very, very, very hyper aware of what source is speaking, right? Cite your sources. Is this false information? Is this fake news? They're very big about citing your source. But then when a comedian says something through the lens of a comedian, they're not citing the source. They're not citing that this is a comic who's saying something through the lens of a comic.
Right.
So I don't know, man. I don't know. I think that that's the biggest thing that I know is that I don't know anything. So, I try to just weigh in on what feels right and how we can all get closer to participating in this idea that is America. And we're kind of losing that. And I'm not that person who's going to participate in culture war and all these other bullshit ideas that, that people want to use to drive us apart. But I do think that it's a very, democracy's nuanced, America's nuanced, man. And if we can't have these conversations where we might get a little uncomfortable or feel a little icky trying to learn and grow, I mean, I don't know how you can continue to participate in the country like this. This idea is very fragile.
No, I agree.
Also,
Bob, now to you. Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, another thing with that, oh God, what the fuck? My back almost went out. You see this? I get old.
Have one of the hookers behind you cracking for you.
You know what I mean? They're pissed at me. They're probably they're going to sleep till 2 today and fucking cost me more money. You know, shit happens like this. Now I forgot what I was gonna fucking say. Jesus Christ! Don't ever take a brownie in the
Back went
morning.
out and you forgot your thought. Yeah.
Yeah. You take a brownie in the morning. This shit happens. See, that's how I'm getting to. Oh, I got it. You ready? This is how I get through life now. I just fucking I take a brownie in the morning. Nothing bothers me. You know what I mean? You just stop worrying about everyone else. The only reason why companies are letting people, they're firing people without knowing, because this is all new to them. Are we supposed to do this? Are we right to do it? We got what this is going to hurt us, right? They don't know because this is new to them. So they just cancel. And then later on, they'll go, sorry, we didn't mean to cancel him. And then they piss off the other half of people because nobody knows what to do. There is no, if you're a business, what are you going to do? You're going to you're trying not to lose money. That's what businesses do. They make money. So if something comes into them going, oh, I should get rid of this person, right? Because look what they did to this person. And they're like, yeah, let's just get rid of him. Even though you could be right, you're still going to be gone because a business is looking after themselves.
No, exactly. That's why, like I said, I harbor no ill feeling towards the Department of Defense or Armed Forces Entertainment. We are living in a different landscape now where these people want to go out and try to rattle the chains with certain things. And if it's going to bring any kind of negative exposure to the military or the government, again, they're corporations like anything else. I totally get it. The one thing that I'll say too, and if we can pull up those tweets one more time, where I was being called anti-POTUS, anti-president, not the Martina thing, but the other ones here that, the ones, the series of Twitter posts. There we go. Hang on. Where I was being called anti-president, and the one that I posted says, a demented old man and a hooker walked into a bar. Oh, wait, that's the inauguration. That's what the bottom says. There we go. Now, this was a tweet that was passed around, retweeted 50,000 times, and this was pulled out and highlighted, for me. And then the other one, go back real quick to to that screen with all the posts and pull up the one that's in the lower left-hand corner, which is, all right, this is a little wrong. Hang on. Kamala, would you please close your legs? The flies are getting bad. Now, that was passed around the internet. And so the fact that I went ahead, and by the way, make this known as we go back and join Ed and Bob, that a lot of these posts were shared to me through friends of mine that are active and retired military. So to your point, Ed, where you say, look, half of these people voted for him, half of them didn't. Bob, same situation. Half voted, half didn't. I don't view that as being, I don't do any stuff like that on stage. At no point in my act am I standing on stage talking about, Kamala Harris's vagina attracting flies.
Yeah.
Or do I ever even mention Biden when I'm on stage? Ever. And Ed, you've seen me do countless shows, and that's not what I do on stage.
Mm-hmm.
And I've hung out with you at your house and in parties and groups, and you're also like the least combative person and like demonstrative person about politics that I know as well. Like you know who you vote for, you know what your criteria is, but you're not somebody that's going to sit there and like slander me for voting for Biden. You're not going to slander me for being a liberal. You're not going to slander me for being a progressive. You actually have asked me a million times what it means. We've had some of the best conversations in life about Black Lives Matter. And you going, help me understand this over here. Help me understand this idea over here. Like you're very, very, very open-minded about going, I want to learn. And this is my friend who's passionate about this. This is my friend who's going to school to learn about these things. Like, let me understand where he's coming from. And that doesn't mean that it's going to change who you vote for necessarily. But I commend like the idea of going, let me understand the side of the street that you're walking on, So, and like this, I think this is a perfect example of what we're doing right now. You could have taken this ball and ran with it and gone, I'm gonna go get a really, really, really big bag, running with this ball and stirring up a lot of hoopla and finding some, fringe group to latch on with, right? And instead you go, let me bring on two people from opposite sides of the spectrum, one who's been canceled, and Bob, I don't mean to project your political views, but I'm sure you're on the opposite side of the pole as me. And, you know, let's have a discussion.
Yeah.
Let's have a discussion. Let's talk about it. Let's have a healthy diatribe about this, and that I commend that. That's what this all should be. That's what all this should be. Look, man, I don't agree with the tweets. That's not my brand of funny. But guess what?
Right.
Fucking neither is Jerry Seinfeld. I don't think he's funny. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and
Yeah.
there's people that I probably find funny that you guys probably don't find funny. That's fucking comedy. And again, if we're gonna, you know, if I let's fucking review the tapes over the last 4 years and let the record show how many memes, gifs, and etc. were built around Trump that were in the exact same bracket
Exactly.
as those that were passed around with impunity. So we're gonna play the ball. I mean, I'm a big fan. You gotta call it both ways, man. If you're allowed to make a mean-spirited tweet about Donald Trump, then you're also allowed to make a mean-spirited tweet about Joe Biden. I happen to disagree with the principle of both, and I've grown over time. There was a point where I hated him so much that I would just spend my day obsessed with talking shit about Trump. But again, if we're trying to root out the spirit of discord and the spirit of all these other things, of not having unity, well, then you can't let one side hold up Trump's severed head and then the other side go, oh, the joke about flies coming out of the vice president's, you know, like, come on, man. Are we playing this both ways, or what's wrong about it? Is it the spirit of the action, or is it the affiliation? And that's where you lose me. As soon as it just becomes about who you're affiliated with, and that's what makes it wrong, rather than the action itself, we're playing a really, 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 really strange game.
You know
No,
what
it
the
really
game
is,
is?
Bob.
You know what the game is, actually? If you really think about it, it's the Super Bowl. It's your team against my team. And that's all this
Mhm.
is. And you are going to root for your team no matter what. And everything is bullshit that we see. How is he get away with this? And you're saying other thing. How does he get away with this? This is bullshit that we don't see. We don't want to see.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
and that's you're just rooting for two different teams, and you're not going. Nobody can really talk you. You know, out of, like one of my best friends in comedy voted for Biden, total Biden, and we go to talk about, and we just look at each other, and I go, "Give me a hug," because we can't get into that
Right.
because it's stupid. You know what I mean? This guy, I trust him with everything. Okay, and being in his business, you would know that you don't find a lot of comedians that you would trust your
Mhm.
life with, your kid with, and he has different views than me. But it's like the old, we're using the old thing. Oh, I have a lot of friends that are Democrats, instead of saying I have a lot of black friends. Now it's like who you voted for, and you shouldn't have to say something like that because
Right.
you say it because it's a fact, but it sounds so stupid that you say it. So it doesn't work either way, even though it's the truth. But it's the biggest cop out basically to so many people,
It's a
and
huge
it
cop
does,
out. It's a huge cop
and
out.
that's what I'm saying. It's like, and you can't say it, but it's actually true. You have a lot of friends that are Democrats. You have a lot of black friends. How else can you express that you do without saying that? You know what I mean? And it just comes
Right.
off wrong.
Well, it almost like even Ed
I mean,
making the comment there where you said, I was going to say, just to your point, where you said you and I have had conversations about Black Lives Matter. For any black person
Mhm.
watching this going, well, what does Ed know about Black Lives Matter? Well, and I mean, you are so immersed in the hip hop culture and community that, you're more dialed in to, to that, to the BLM movement and to just the culture of that community. So before
Well, yeah,
somebody
I mean, as a
comes on
hip-hop
and goes,
artist, I don't
how
wanna-
does Ed reserve the right to make any comment about Black Lives Matter? It's like you see it
I
firsthand,
don't.
having so many people that you work with.
Yeah, and I'll say this: I don't. I'm not. I don't have autonomy over that movement. I'm a white guy. I don't. I'm not going to sit here and, my job is to learn. and that's life. That's all of our job is to learn.
Mhm.
And even when I think I'm right, my job is to still find a way to be better. And so, you know, I'm immersed in it because it's affected my family. It's affected my friends. My godson is black. Like there's a lot of things that like it affects my family very directly. And so it's my job to learn, man. It's my job to listen and my job to learn. There's enough opinions out there. And again, like I
Yeah.
said, the one thing that I've learned over the last couple of years is that I don't know shit. And so, you know, let me just sit back and play the wall and learn and listen and just and
Yeah.
focus on how I can be better. How can I be better? You know, and to your point, Bob, about how it's a cop out. I mean, I think the beautiful thing, and this is maybe something that's only I don't know if it's exclusive to comedy, but it definitely is more prevalent in comedy. One thing that bugs me is when comedians get offended at people getting offended at comedians,
Mhm.
because it's like it's the same coin. You're just doing the same thing that they're doing. Like, stand on your opinion. Stand on your opinion. You have the opportunity to just say what you want to say. Now, I don't like when clubs and gatekeepers who are in the business of comedy side with the consumer. Like that's a weird thing
Mhm.
to me. I don't understand why. You know
Right.
what I mean? It's like you're in this business. You should understand the context.
Exactly.
But you know, so I take exception to that. But man, comedy's like comedy and jazz are the two most American art forms. There are American artistic export. Okay, we have built those. They started here, and comedy is the most American thing that we have, primarily because it's built on the grounds of free speech. You know, I have a hard time, you know, hearkening, like you said, if you were to harken back 20 years, you know, when comedians are getting marched off to jail, I have a hard time thinking that they were doing it to protect someone's right to comment on your Twitter. You know what I mean? Like it's just
Right.
like a weird thing. It's like no, we're celebrating the fact that like, hey, all these people that if Howard Stern, like you said, would have gotten canceled 30, 20, 10 years ago if we were playing by the same rules. But Howard Stern changed culture.
Mhm.
So that's the part that always concerns me is like I look at like Madonna was making love to black Jesus on a burning cross,
Sure.
you know, that changed culture. But if we're gonna like play this game of like we have to police every single thing that is said across the board so that we don't hurt people's feelings or make them feel marginalized. Like, life is about learning how to deal with fucking disappointment. Okay?
Mhm.
People are
Yeah.
gonna let you down. It's how it is. People are gonna let you down. You're gonna be
No,
disappointed
you're
by
right.
things you hear. It's about learning how to deal with it. So am I sitting here like advocating for say whatever offensive thing you want today? No.
Mhm.
But if we're going to sit here and like police people and throw them off the internet instead of sitting here and saying, hey, let's have a dialogue about why, if your friend comes to you and goes, hey, man, what you said was hurtful, you're not going to be like, fuck you, pussy. You're going to be like, hey, man, you're my friend. Like, all right, let's talk about it. You know,
Right.
my bad. I didn't mean to hurt you. Here's why I thought it was funny.
Mhm.
Here's why you thought it was upsetting to you. And you're my friend. But when you have strangers going, Derek Richards is a poison, I don't know. I just
Yeah.
challenge, like, what's more poisonous behavior? You commenting on a stranger who you don't know based on tweets and calling them a
Yeah.
poison? Like, how do you know that? That seems like a poison to me, you know? Let's just
No,
make
I agree
assumptions about people we
completely.
don't know.
No, it's just a lot of
So I
stuff
don't
seems
know.
to
Sorry,
just
there's
get
my
posted.
soapbox.
No, which is great. That's why we're here. I mean, that's a lot of stuff gets posted on social media with no thought based behind it, no research.
Hmm. It's a
Yeah,
race
but
to the
always
bottom.
gonna, yeah, like you were saying, like basically something's going to upset you. You have to kind of build up to say, hey, this is the way. Like you're not gonna upset yourself. It's always somebody else
Hmm.
that's going to start your day, and it's going to happen every day. It's not going to be most likely your
Yeah.
family. Okay, it's going to be from a
Yeah.
phone call, from something that came in the mail, from somewhere else, and it happens every day. And the whole thing is like you'll have to block out. You're like a football player to the face. Get out of my way. I'm going through this.
Hmm.
You're not gonna stop me here. I'm not gonna be involved in your little silly thing that you think life is right now. It means
Yeah.
nothing to me. Everything that means something to me is what keeps me going forward. And I'm not going to let something get in my way that you have no control over to be able to slow me down. It just makes no sense. Just keep.
No, exactly.
You got to toughen
No, I agree
up a little.
completely.
You got to. Yeah, you have to toughen up because I mean you don't want people to believe that they can say anything, they can do anything. And look, I'm getting a break. Or I can do what I want. You can't. And it's like everybody's equal. Everybody's equal when you treat everybody equal, and that goes for anybody. It doesn't matter. Everybody, you can't, you can't make things easier for somebody and then shove down the throat that they're equal, because it's an insult to them. It's an insult to
Right.
people when you're giving them something like that. It's an insult. And when people should go to meetings. Town, every school at night should be with the community, people talking. And if somebody gets out of hand, you say, no, we're here to fucking talk. We're not here to yell. Go yell on Twitter, okay? You can go
Right.
yell on Twitter. But we're here. We want kids to even hang out with each other. You can actually, kids, when they're young, okay? When kids are young, even to a certain age, they don't even know what race is or anything until they're told what it is, whether at home in a good way or a bad way, or at school in a good way or bad way from other kids. So once they get to hang out with each other, it becomes friends. It doesn't become my black friend. You understand? It's my friend. You
Right,
don't
right,
say my black friend. It's a different thing because of the way you're programmed, And I learned that from my son one time. He goes, I was hanging out with my black friend. And I go, no, you weren't. You were hanging out with your friends. And he goes, yeah, I don't know why I said that. You see what I mean?
Right.
It's like shit like that. And I didn't realize I didn't get that done at that time. You know what I mean? As a parent.
No,
Mhm.
it's
Mhm.
I
crazy.
let that slip. And it's just little things. It's that you have to learn that people they don't care. I have nothing to say anymore. That's what people say. I don't want to talk about it no more. But no, this is the time you have to talk about it, because this is
Yeah.
fucking up
Yeah.
people's lives, people's what they do for a living, everything. It's just like you can do such good things, but it's that last thing that you said or something, and they just over the coals with it. And
Yeah.
it doesn't define your life. You understand? And say you change, like Howard Stern was able to change into this person, but that's okay that he changed. But nobody lets anybody change from right now. But
Well,
you
yeah,
can
exactly.
20, 10. That's the sad thing. It's like you make a mistake now, it is the Squid Game.
Mhm.
If you watch
Mhm.
No,
that
it really
movie.
is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
No,
Yeah.
that's what
it's
they're
crazy.
making us. They're making us
Ed?
where
Yeah.
they give people money, and they give. Listen, one second. They give people money, and then when they take it away, they take away your jobs, right? Like it's going on. Truthfully, they're taking away people's jobs. They're firing people for not getting the shot, right? And then you start to go, oh, now I need money from. Oh, look, when they were giving us unemployment, oh my God, I can use it now. That's what everyone's saying, and you get stuck into give me, instead of going out to earn, and that's what happens.
Ed, what were you going to say? I'm sorry.
It no, you're good, man. I couldn't agree more on the point about letting people grow. We all grow in our life. We all grow on a micro level and on a macro level. Our nuances change. The food that we eat. We grow into certain, taste palettes. Like everything about life is growth. And so you want to see change. Well, then you got to accept the fact that your starting point may be different than somebody else's starting point. And some days that's going to be, inverted, and they're going to be farther along than you are at the starting line. So, I mean, you have to give people the space to like, okay, let me learn. But the minute you just start like shoving people out, they're going to dig their heels in and go, fuck it. Well, you've labeled me as this thing, so I guess I'll be this thing. And that's That's not good either. I'm not justifying that one bit. I mean, that's a brittle fucking spirit. But you're not creating change. Like when you sit there and go, so and so's a poison. Okay, well, great. What a wonderful way to bring us all together. Since you're the
Yeah, I
morality
know.
police, who's all about inclusion, like thank you for taking this opportunity to use your platform to bring us all closer together. Like,
Well, here's
how
what's
is
so
that
funny.
beneficial, man?
I agree completely. Well, and if you look at her picture on her Twitter handle, on her profile,
Mhm.
it's Harris and
Unity,
Biden,
probably,
and it
right?
says United, and it says Unity or United.
exactly.
I'm like,
Yeah.
well, that's a great way to promote your Unity and United platform.
But here's the problem, man, is like, that's
calling
not what it's
somebody that
about.
you don't. No, exactly.
That's not what it's about.
Crazy.
And like, that's the part that bothers me as a person who subscribes to the same political beliefs as probably that person does. It bothers me so
Sure.
much because these are the ones that are going to stand on the mountaintop and scream about why you're a bigot for not believing BLM, why you're a bigot for this thing, and why you're a racist for that thing. But they will not take 1 second out of their goddamn life to humble themselves and go, let me have a conversation with someone I disagree with an open fucking mind.
Yeah.
Like, what are you worried about? That they're going to turn you into them? Like, come on, just have a conversation. Like, let's build here. Let's build. Life is nuanced. Hey man, you're from Camden, dog. I don't know what Camden's like, but I'm assuming it shaped your life a little bit differently than fucking suburban Henderson, where I'm from. You know, so I could sit here and like say to you, like, you know, well, here's the thing, Bob. You should understand it where I'm from. No, how the fuck could you understand it where I'm from? They didn't rob the ice cream man where I'm from. You know,
Well, yeah,
it's a whole different ball game.
No,
if you look behind Bob, you can see that's the ice cream man's pickup truck right behind Bob.
Yeah,
if you go
I'm
full
sure
screen,
it is.
Bob, right there. That's actually ice cream dripping off of the back of the pickup truck. That's what the ice cream man drove around in Bob's
That's your truck.
neighborhood.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, we could talk about this topic for hours and hours. And again, I can't thank either of you. I can't thank both of you enough for your time, seriously, and for your insight in this. And it's been, again, very eye-opening to have this conversation and to have this kind of productive dialogue, as I think most everybody should have. Don't jump to conclusions. Just don't go automatically retweeting and posting stuff about people that you don't know, just for the sake of hopping on some kind of a bandwagon. You know, don't be that Karen who's going to be just going after the manager for no reason whatsoever because Bob the waiter brought you cold fries. It's like, settle down a little bit. But guys, what you have coming up, Eddie, you have a project that you're working on right now. People go on your social media, Eddie J Music, please. What do you got coming up?
Yeah, I got some music coming out, so stay tuned for that. I also got a podcast getting ready to launch called I Usually Headline, and it's me and comics sitting down, having a meal, having a drink, and just talking about this.
Nice.
If you're familiar with the comedy world, everybody says I Usually Headline. So, I'm very excited about it. And
that's a great name for a podcast, isn't it, Bob? That's so fucking funny.
God. This should be a stamp that people just could put it on an envelope when they're mailing something to somebody. You know what I mean?
I Usually Headline.
It's so funny. It's like, can I headline for you? Like if I'm booking in one show, somebody I know, and they go, can I headline? I go, you headline? I go, you open for me at the other place, aren't you? Like an opener?
Yeah, but
I usually when I work with you, or like
every time, man.
But,
every time.
Or some other person. I don't headline. That's the only time. That is fucking clever and great.
I always say when I show up at a gig and
Thanks.
someone says, if I'm headlining and somebody says I usually headline, I'm like, man, I usually MC. I have no idea why I'm even here. I usually bust tables. I don't know what to tell you, but find Eddie J's music, Eddie J Music at Eddie J Music. Find him on, you got stuff on iTunes and a bunch of streaming platforms as well. And your stuff is absolutely fantastic. I highly recommend that people check that out. Bob, what do you got coming up? You got a big show coming up November 27th in Scranton, Pennsylvania. Also your podcasts, Miserable Men, as well as Levyland. Both are hilarious. People need to go on and check those out. Follow you on Twitter here as well and all the social media platforms. What else you got coming up here?
Basically, Nothing. I'll be working a lot, but I got the Scranton thing coming up. That's going to be good with Kevin Brennan's on the show. It's called the Magical Misery Tour. So,
oh my God!
Oh,
that's the one November 27th in Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, and then
it's fantastic. I love it.
Yeah, and it's just having fun and pleasure meeting you today. I mean, I love to talk to some people that can talk. I can just have a conversation without getting mad.
Yeah, man.
I haven't even gotten mad. Not even like this. Like, not even like, this is what your day should be with madness. Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
The madness is the devil that's going to fucking, you know what I mean? People want to infect you with unhappy, but think of the people that are trying to affect you, how empty their lives are. And that's what's scary.
Yeah.
Their lives are so empty that this is the excitement that they get instead of making their family better. I don't get it. I don't get
it. Misery's a choice. It's consensual. You have to let people. You have to let people take your joy.
No, it really is. Ed Conover, Bob Levy, gentlemen, thank you guys so much, both of you. Appreciate you. You guys are great, man. Thank you so much for being here. A Drink with Derek. Find me on YouTube. All the episodes are on there. Also, New Takes TV. Go on and check out that platform. All kinds of super cool stuff that they have cranking up here. My sponsor, VegasSportsAdvantage.com. Huge thanks to those guys. Get a copy of my album, Double Down. You can snag that everywhere you stream stuff. iTunes, Amazon, as well as Spotify. Also, check it out on Sirius XM satellite radio coming up. And then I'll be at the Lexington Theater in Lexington, Michigan on Friday, October 15th with a good buddy of mine, Sal D'Amelio. And then Saturday, October 16th at the Pix Theater in Lapeer, Michigan. And then October 22nd and 23rd at the Improv in Tampa, Florida with my dear friend and hilarious comedian, Dave Landau. This is Derek Richards. Thank you so much for joining me. We will see you next time. Take care. Bye.